I'll record because Jacob's not here. So if you don't have these insert statements, I'll put them in Canvas so that you're not behind today. So I just dumped them at the bottom of week 7. If for some reason you don't have those or you missed on Wednesday. And that's what we're going to be needing today is information out of that. Okay, so we're going to be working on chicken farm. And those are all my inserts. I'm going to go ahead and clear that. So I've got a SQL tab open. I'm connected to chicken farm. You may just right click and new SQL if you want to. And let's go ahead and check out and verify that we have stuff in breeds. Select everything from the breeds table. We'll also make sure that you have a good connection to your database and that we have 10 items in our breeds table.
I totally forgot to get home.
You can create it pretty quickly. Just create chicken farm and then that anymore. That's so you'll just need that section for,
Mr. Goodman,
yes.
we got an error trying to do that.
I'll send it in an email. So you just have to do the create database, chicken farm, connect to it, and then paste all that code I emailed you. And you'll have a chicken farm. Paste the inserts on the canvas.
Oh, I meant the select from breeds. I don't know.
Jacob, so permission denied for relation breeds. So you're probably connected. So expand out your Postgres local, and then just right-click chicken farm, open new, and you're probably connected as Cletus, where we were playing with permissions. So that was probably connected to farms down there. So that looks like I don't see anything in breeds table. So you need to go copy those inserts. Yeah, what happens if you hit F5 there? An error occurred. Just click stop. I want you to copy all of that and paste it into that window you just did. And hit F5. Click continue. Syntax header near input. So line 4. You put a semicolon after the end of each of your breeds. That's why, yeah, just click stop. Yep. Okay, now just run the top select to make sure you see everything. Yep. Okay, clear all your inserts out so you don't accidentally put them in there twice. Okay, let's see. Hyphal. Is it continue there, Hyphal? So you're having permission denied. Let me look. Yeah, you're connected in as Cletus instead of, so you're going to so see over there on the left side where you've got farmer access selected instead of the Postgres.local. You're logging in as Cletus. You need to use the Postgres local to connect to Chicken Farm. Just click stop on that. So on your left side, the tree section, you need to open up the top one that's got
Okay.
access, then right click Chicken Farm and connect to it.
To new SQL or?
Yes. Yep. And then you need to paste in your select statements into that tab and execute them. That way you'll have permission. Just click continue on there and see syntax error near insert. Line 9, insert into breeds. You don't have a closing semicolon.
Okay, yeah.
Starting at line 7 there for.
You didn't put all of them in there. Okay.
Okay.
Just, all right. I can just delete them.
Yes. Yeah, then do a select star for breeds. Make sure you see the same info. What do you got going on, Brian? Oh, you got You don't need all the stuff up above, you just needed the inserts. If you selected star from breeds, do you have all the stuff in there? Well, let me check what you got. I'm gonna take control for a second. So what's this tab? What are you connected as? You're connected as Cletus. Let's I'm just gonna connect new. Select star from breeds. What do you have? You've got them in there. Okay. So that works. Okay, so I think I see everybody's got the 10 rows with the breed stuff in there. So we were going to want to expand our flock. I want to expand our flock and insert into our flock. Insert into flock. And I'm not going to insert all rows because I don't have a lost date. And I'm probably not going to put notes with them. Yeah, I'll put notes with them. So we need breed ID, date of birth, and notes. So I didn't put chicken ID because we already have that built into the table definition that it's auto-generated ID. The breed ID, however, is required, or not required, but the hens we're going to be adding into the table, we know. And we had an expert come and sex them for us, so we know if they're hens or not. This is in my imagination, Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. So that's our scenario. So we know the breed, we know when they were hatched, we know if they're a hen or a roux, and then we're going to add some notes to it. We've not lost them yet, so that's why I've not included that. And our chicken ID is by default auto-generated, so I've not included that in there. And because I didn't include all of the rows, I had to specify them in parentheses. Okay, let's hit enter. And we'll do values. And inside of my parentheses here, I am going to write a select statement. I'm going to select breed ID. And so my select statement, I'm pretty sure needs to be surrounded in parentheses. To make it a little bit easier, I'm going to write this select statement on a different line. I'm going to select the breed ID from breeds. Where the name is like Leghorn. Shouldn't need that semicolon in that. So I'm gonna test that out in just a little bit, but the values, I need to put I'm gonna put a comma there, and the date of birth is gonna be 2/14/2021. They hatched on Valentine's Day, and I gave us some time to know if they're hens or not. True for the hen. And the notes were self-hatched. So we know that we hatched them ourselves. So what I'm doing here with the select statement, this would be fairly common for a foreign key because the foreign key is a primary key in another table. And the primary keys are typically generated keys, like sequences. There's other ways to generate key IDs, even like a bigger, longer number than that. You might have the database do a random number generator or a global unique identifier style key. And the number is just too astronomical to manually try to type in or copy out. Our 90,005 here is easy to type, but that's not always the case. So creating a select statement to pull the actual foreign key out. I said that you have candidate keys like a social security number, a driver's license number, something might be something you'd think would be a primary key, but you don't want to use that. You actually want to have a surrogate key, one that's auto-generated by the database. So you're not paying attention. The user, the customer, doesn't know what their primary key ID is, but they may have something that uniquely identifies them, like a social security number. So when you're inserting data or modifying things like that, writing a select statement to find that particular primary key is something that you might want to be able to do. So I'm going to run the select statement here and make sure that the ID actually pulls out correctly, and it does. So I want this select statement right here to run in place of where that I would actually type 90,005. So when that select statement runs, it's going to return 90,005 for that one spot. And I'm going to paste it there. Because a select statement is sometimes more than one line of code, and you can get kind of confusing. You see how I wrote that on another line? And once I made sure it worked, and it's get my information, I pasted it into the field spot. That way it did all the enters and manipulation So I'm going to see what type of errors I got with this and troubleshoot after I try to execute an insert. So troubleshooting 0 errors is kind of hard to do. But now if I go and I select everything from block, I don't want to accidentally reinsert another leghorn right now, but I'm going to execute that one and see if I've got one row. And I'm going to see if the breed ID is correct. And it is.
What did I do wrong on this? Did I put in the wrong
You have a closing parentheses after the column name up there in the select statement, line 7.
let's see. Next statement.
Yeah, take that closing parentheses out of line 7. It's only supposed to close at the end
Okay,
of
this
line, but 2 closings. So that should run correct.
okay.
So you got a problem. You've somehow inserted the leghorn into your database twice, and it's returning 2 values. So that's letting you know that would fail. So let's look
So do I
at,
need to?
so to fix that, you would need to delete
Yeah.
from reads.
Is it
where
because I put 2 of them, or was it just
read ID, you probably executed twice when you inserted.
okay?
Read IDs greater than 9,009. So if you run that, that'll delete your duplicates. And then if you run this, you should only get 1 row. And then you'll be able to paste that up here.
Okay.
And then you'll be able to execute that. So the James showed us we could have an issue. We're able to put leghorn in there more than once. So there's a constraint that we might possibly want to. He must be missing that in his code. Having a constraint in there, so James must have that missing out of his. Okay, well, what do you think about selecting data from another table and inserting it? Let's take a break and we'll come back after break. Okay, so there we go. Resume recording. So I'm executing this. I was executing 2 more times, so I have 3 leghorns into the flock database. So I've got the 3 leghorns. And so what I might actually do on this, so that we don't lose the data that we're doing, I'm going to copy this out. I'm going to place it into my Visual Studio Code. I'm going to place it, and I have to be after the breeds, because if I wipe my database and recreate it from scratch and it reruns all the inserts, they got to be in the right order. I can't put flock in and find the leghorn ID if leghorns don't exist yet. So I'm going to paste that. And I said we had, I'm going to do 3 of them. So I'm simply going to paste that 3 times into my SQL. I'm then going to just so we have some variety. We're going to have some Rhode Island Reds that were born on the 15th. They'll be Tractor Supply Company bought, and they're going to be don't even have to type all of it out. Should be able to use a % sign. I'm going to go ahead and make
Spell road.
yeah, RH. There we go. I'm going to do 6 of these. And so what I'm going to do, once I've got those 6 created, I'm going to go and copy all that 6 and put it into my DB Studio. I'm just going to replace everything here and paste it in there. And before I execute this, I'm going to execute just the select statement to make sure I get an ID. And I did. So now I can go ahead and then just hit F5, or I can select all of the 6 inserts there and execute. And got 6 rows. So at your very end, your results, select everything from flock. I should have 9 chickens. Into our flock. My little imaginary world has actual real world rules with it in this scenario. The Tractor Supply, I added 6 of them because that's the minimum number of chickens you can buy legally, because they're a flock bird. And for their mental well-being, they've got legislation that 6 is the minimum you can purchase. So if you hatch your own or buy from individuals, they don't have the regulations, but you buy them commercially. 6 is the minimum for the mental well-being of the bird. So You're learning a whole lot about chickens.
Well, I never bought my commercially. I just went to the BB sale barn and got it there.
Yeah, BB sale barn's non-commercial, so they're just individual selling at whatever, but. So we had 3 self-hatched ones. The rest of them didn't hatch out. We had a bad hatch rate. Whatever, so
Maybe we only had 4 eggs.
yeah, you normally end up with the 50 to 70% hatch rate anyway. You know, hardly ever get much above that. You're really good if you get above that range. Out of 48 eggs, we had hatched somewhere between like 26 and 30, typically.
I'll say the one time we incubated 24, got 11.
That's about right.
And that was just in a subpar incubator that we weren't even sure if it properly worked.
Yeah. Okay, so let's look at. We're looking at next week. We have a quiz next week. And I already told you while we were doing the review questions that one of the things that you needed to pay attention to was the delete statement, and that where is optional. It's not required. It's recommended, but it's not required. So delete from table name, and you really should use a where statement. In the PowerPoint, I think I put in there and added that if you're wanting to empty a table out and delete everything, use truncate table instead of delete. And that way you're just automatically delete from where when you're typing it. But it's for the test and the actual SQL rules or whatever, where is optional. So that is a test question. In chapter 7, let me find the page number that you need to.
So you have a doctor's appointment on that day?
Yep.
So are we not gonna have physical ones?
Yeah, so I'm gonna send an announcement with the password to the quiz on Monday. And you can take it on your own. It won't be proctored.
All right, do we still need to do it during the time of class?
So yes, it still needs to be completed during time of class, but there's like, it won't be proctored, so it can be open book. Should everybody make a pretty good grade on it, on this one. Should be back between 9:30 and 10 o'clock. So anybody that's got my 10 o'clock class, I will be here, should be here. Possibility of me being a little bit late, but I should be here. So I'm not seeing. This section, I know it's back in chapter 7, it must not be in a table form. So select, where's the, well, they talk about where. There's the where clause. This question is going to give you a list of symbols that you can use with the where statement, such as equal, greater than, less than, and it's going to ask you what are valid symbols. So valid symbols you need to know. You can check to see if things are equal or not. You can use greater than, you can use less than. You can also use greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to. And you can use not equal. Not equal is less than, greater than, pointing, arrows pointing away from each other. Those are valid. If the equal mark is at front, that's wrong. There's not an equal to or greater. It's always less than or equal, or greater than or equal. The equal is always at the end. And I thought we had a list of them. There's several examples of these on page 156 through the end of the chapter, basically, or at least through 163. They even have examples of in the having section. The key thing that you would it's even hard to type. So that's wrong. That's wrong. That's like an angry face, I guess, or something. I don't know. It's like, and that would be wrong. So those would be wrong answers. The other stuff would be right answers. So make note of your comparative operators, predicates there. Small set of predicates anyway. What is correct or not. What are the two required SQL commands in a select statement? It's right there. Select and from, right? All the others are optional. So you'll have questions that'll ask you what's the required SQL clauses in a select statement, select and from. You'll also have them ask you what are optional ones. You'll have to be able to, basically anything other than select or from is optional. So your having, your where, your group by, order by, all of those are optional. There'll be some old questions about how do you change the structure of a table without changing the data? What SQL command? You had this question previously. What SQL command changes the structure of a table? It's not update. Update's dealing with the data. I said you're not changing the data, but you did say alter. Alter table.
I must have just.
You're thinking, well, those were the two things that you can change. So yeah, update is for the data, alter is for the structure of the table. So that question was thrown in there just because, well, we've come up and started talking about modifying data. So the question, do you remember from the previous chapters where we alter table, the data definition instead of data manipulation language? So that is thrown in there. It's a comprehensive style question. You still comprehend the difference between update, which is modifying the data, the chickens that we bought, versus alter table, where we want to maybe change and add a constraint in or something to stop duplicates from being put in or something. So, or maybe we needed to alter the table and expand the varchar 10 on egg color to 12, but you didn't want to change the data that's already there because we wanted to put light brown in there, and so we could alter table and modify egg color.
I'm just trying to think of all business would need to know between brown and light brown.
Yeah, we decided we didn't.
What would-
So actually, a commercial business probably would, but not our backyard chicken, not in the one we're developing for ourselves. We got lazy, said, just keep the brown, white, cream, it's good enough. So updating the database with the update statement. You need to remember that what happens if you don't put a where clause in an update statement?
doesn't-
It doesn't error. It updates everything. It updates every row. So if we did update flock set lost date equal to 2/26/2021 and executed it, it would fill out every single row there, and so we lost every one of our chickens.
Well, looks like we didn't have a very good one.
So it's a possibility. We might want to do that, but that's what happens if you forget the where statement with an update. It'll update every single row. And one of your review questions that y'all answered today in class is, why is a where statement used with an update clause? It's to narrow down to a subset of rows or down all the way down to a single row that you want to update. And I've already told you that the order of execution, you will need to know that. That's the first page of chapter 7, 151 maybe. Yep, 151 lists the order that the select statement clauses are executed. Select is not read first. It is actually read next to last. Order by is read last. Select is next to last. From is ran first. So if you at least know that part, you'll be okay on this quiz. Of course, this is going to be an open book test, so you shouldn't be able to fail that question. So you can just look at it and go, there's the answer.
Only way I can think is failing is if you just go to sleep.
Yep.
You know, do the
So I'm going to send that out as an announcement in the morning of the test on Monday. So I'll announce and it'll have the password. You just log in and take it from home if you want to. You can come up here at 10. You'll need to be able to write select statements and use either and or. I showed an example of that on Wednesday. So you'll have a question that'll ask you for look at a particular column for this information, look at another column for this information. They both must be true. Or you might get a question where where tulips are blue or the bulb size is medium, and you could use an or in that. So it shows you all the medium bulbs of any color, all of them that are blue of any size. So you ought to write a select statement that will take two columns, and you'll need to use and or. It's going to be completely numeric, so you won't have to worry with likes or anything. So you'll just have to worry with the equal than, greater than type, and just the numbers. So you won't have to worry with single quotes or anything with the question. Do you remember the example? So do you remember me going over this on Wednesday, where that we were checking for a unit price, less than $1? And we come up that there was about 4 different answers, 3 or 4 different answers that we could actually write with a where statement to come up with, show me something that's less than $1. So you can less than $1, less than or equal to 99 cents, or where it's not. Oh, maybe it's greater than $1. This is reverse. So we were looking for what was greater than $1. So you can use a not and limit the stuff that was less than $1 or 99 cents or less. Or you can look for, show me everything that's $1 or greater, or show me anything that's greater than 99 cents. There's going to be a question that will have a list of 4 to 6 where lines. It's only going to have the where lines. It's not going to have any, because you don't need to know. That's not part of what's being asked. They'll have 4 or 5, 6 different where statements. The question will ask you, they're looking for a particular column for a particular value, and ask you to pick all of the where statements that would give you the right value, the same output. So there'll be 2 or 3 answers that'll be valid. And you got to remember your middle school math, greater than and less than, and maybe think a little bit harder than they made you think then. Because you got greater than, less than, and greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to, that will change what values you could type. There's an essay. Well, there's a couple of essays, but one of the essays, I did not specify every column in my insert statement when I inserted into my flock database, right? What must be true of the columns that you don't put data in?
They can be null.
They can be nullable. Is there anything else?
Or like the chicken ID, it already has default.
So the chicken ID has a default sequence that is being added into it. So in our PowerPoint, so yeah, the column either's got to be nullable or it's got to have a default value that can be applied to it. And that holds true with our flock table, the example we just did. So as Wade said, chicken ID, it had defaulted, auto-generated the value. We didn't specify to put anything in chicken ID. We left it out. We just started with breed ID. And we didn't put anything for lost state, but it was nullable, so it auto-nulled. And having is something that we haven't covered a whole lot. We've talked about where it's going to eliminate rows of information. It looks at individual rows. We talked about having in the PowerPoint a little bit. Having lets you eliminate groups. If you ever see the word group, you got to think of having instead of where. And when you're grouping stuff together and you're using the having statement, you're likely using some type of function for minimum, maximum, average. Something like that is more typical when you use having into the system. Okay, so that's your quiz review. Like I said, I'm going to send an announcement. And for some reason, if it doesn't come in your email, you should be able to click on announcements here and see the announcement on Monday and get the password. And then the password link. I mean, the quiz link is right here under week 8. And it'll be open book, so a lot of you are happy. Yay. And like I said, I'll be here should be here at 10 o'clock class for those that have the 10 o'clock class, unless the doctor kills me. It's normally hospitals kill you. Doctors, they can prescribe you some weird medicine and kill you, but hospitals kill you a lot more than a regular doctor will. What?
So that's fair.
So that's normal? Yep,
Well, depends on if you're having blood with them and if the nurse knows what she's doing.
I've had some people die from going to the hospital. Into funerals. Okay, so I probably want to go ahead and close down and make sure all of your files are saved, and you may want to sync them up to your OneDrive. Because the next time we'll meet here in person, guess will be on Wednesday. By that time, there may be a few machines already swapped out. So today, you want to take the time to sync anything up to OneDrive. And as we move further into the system, next week there'll be more select statements, like on page 209 and stuff. There's the table. It's actually in chapter 9, the ones that show the valid symbols that you can use for equal than, not equal to, greater than, less than. So we're going to get more in depth into writing queries and using the greater than, less than, and between, and ands, and ors, and grouping and having. We'll continue practicing and getting more complex with that as the semester rolls on. The Hacker Ranked has some really good questions to roll through and build on that. So any questions?